Hey, how you doing? I'm Dr. Dave of Paragon Chiropractic, and welcome back to this week's video blog. We have a couple guest appearances here. Um, I think you can see them. This is Luca at a couple months old, and this is Dr. Abby, as we all know. So say hi. Yeah, that's great. So Dr. Abby's back a little bit, so that's good for Dr. Abby's patients. Good. All right, so hello and welcome back to this week's video blog. What I thought I'd do is this week's is going to be entitled A Fast Summary on Fasting. All right, so the last few video blogs have really piqued the interest of many, and we have had a number of inquiries regarding the Ultra Inflamex, and I don't have any more SPMs. They're all kind of sold out on handling oh, we just got some in today, I hear. So you're good now. And on handling chronic inflammation, good. So, and in dealing with intermittent fasting. So it seems like apparently people have heard a little something or other about this idea of chronic inflammation and stuff like that, and are interested in doing something to pursue health and wellness. Good idea. All right. So, and here's the big question. If you don't pursue health and wellness for yourself, I'm not sure who else will, right? Kind of an interesting thought. Who else is supposed to take care of you? I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot that think there should be, but there's not. Good. So the last video on fasting and autophagy, and you'll remember auto, self, phagy, meaning to eat. So it's just kind of the way your body, when you go through a fasting period, cleans up the dead cells and recycles and reclaims all of this stuff. And it was pretty heavy, and I threw a lot of numbers at you, and some of them might have seemed unreal. I mean, would the average bear really be interested in fasting for 24 or 36 or 48 hours or even 72 hours at a time? Probably not. So let's see if there's something that's a little more bite-sized and easier to confront. So, however, as the parables go, every journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And the best way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time. So, snatch the pebble from my hand, grasshopper. At any rate, good. So you get the idea. You can pretty much do anything if you do it on a gradient scale, and that's it. Gradient scales are the only way to ensure success. You do a little, then you do a little more, then a little more, and a little more until you're on your way. Good. Odds are that you're not as healthy and well as you would like to be, perhaps by a little, perhaps not by a long shot. Yeah, so we're all in there someplace, right? So if you want to make some changes, you need to ask yourself this. So what can I do? All right? Not even what can I do about it or anything else, just what can I do? Perhaps a several-day fast is not a good first step, but what about intermittent fasting in a time-restricted eating window, right? That's that gradient scale stuff we're talking about. But maybe changing the way you eat is still not the best first step for you. So I ask again, so what can you do? Whatever that is, start doing it. Nothing overwhelming, but something that you can actually do. Even if you just walk in place during commercial breaks, anything, just decide and put the discipline in and do it, right? Just start, do it, do something. Since we have been talking about autophagy, the reclaiming the cells and stuff, intermittent fasting and time-restricted eating windows, let's start with that and try to provide an easier to understand video blog on fasting, okay? So the first thing we want to do is to make an assessment of what your typical daily eating window is, okay? Guess we're gonna move the camera back, good. You do this by making a note of when you take your first bite, your very first bite in the morning, and when you take your very, very last bite in the evening or at night. This would be your eating window. So it's your first bite, last bite, that's the time that you ate. Let's say you take your first bite at 7 a.m. And keep in mind for you coffee achievers, coffee actually breaks your fast. So if you have a cup at 5 a.m., then your window starts at 5 a.m. not at 7 a.m. when you take your first bite. Something to keep in mind. Then make a note of when you took your very last bite at night. So let's say it's 8 p.m. Okay. So what this means is your typical eating window is between 7 in the morning and 8 in the evening or at night, or between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. If the first thing you're a morning coffee drinker, right? This would mean that you eat between 13 and 15 hours a day. More importantly, you did not eat for 9 to 11 hours that day. So that time that you didn't eat anything, that's your intermittent fasting time or your time restricted eating window. All right? So you got first bite, last bite, that's the time you eat. The time from the last bite until you take your first bite again, that's the time you're fasting, you're intermittent fasting. So they think that the average American eats about 16 hours a day, and that leaves them with an intermittent fasting time of 8 hours. So that's really not so good. This is a problem, especially when you consider that 70% of the US population is overweight or obese. It comes from someplace. So less eating and a much longer fasting time would be best. So you eat in a shorter window and you don't eat in a longer window. Personally, my window is between 10:30 in the morning and 6:30 p.m. in the evening, which means I eat only 8 hours a day, and I intermittently fast 16 hours each day. So that means there's an 8-hour period that I eat and 16 hours that I don't eat anything, I only drink water. It's not so bad. If you recall from the previous video blog, this means during the 16 hours of fasting, which also corresponds with my sleeping time, many good things are happening for my body. And I'll just go through a list here. At 8 hours, my body starts to deplete glucose in the blood sugar stores, namely glycogen, and it begins to utilize stored fat for energy. It begins at 8 hours, right? At 10 hours, weight loss begins, improved blood sugar control, and enhanced brain function. Hey, great. At 12 hours, my body transitions into ketosis and begins to burn stored fat for energy as there are no carbs or sugar. So that's just at 12 hours of not eating. At 13 hours, my body increases the growth hormone production and increases testosterone levels by 1,300%. That's 13 hours of not eating and 1,300% increase in testosterone levels. At 14 hours, my body begins to really burn fat for energy, which leads to weight loss. So this occurs while I'm sleeping and not eating. What could be easier? I mean, what could be an easier way to lose weight than to sleep and not eat? Good. At 16 hours, which is as long as my fast is, my body has officially thrown the fat switch, which is really pretty cool. And we talked about that before. And now I'm using stored body fat, and it's being converted into ketones for energy and will continue to do so as long as I avoid carbs and sugar throughout the day. Right? Pretty interesting. So as discussed in the previous video blog, autophagy begins around 12 to 16 hours. So it begins to start cleaning up the dead cells and getting rid of this stuff between 12 and 16 hours. That's why a 24-hour fast is probably a better way to get into autophagy. And that's what I put here next. It should be noted that autophagy really is most effective around 24 hours fasting and or longer, which would be 36, 48, 72 hours. It's amazing, and all of this occurs while I'm sleeping and not eating. Again, I make that point. If you'd like to know more about how intermittent fasting, that is the time-restricted eating window, works, pick up a copy, I'll zoom that in, of Dr. Sachin Panda's book, The Circadian Code. Great. And you will see that every organ in your body, including your gut bugs, are on a maintenance schedule, as it were, or a circadian rhythm. So while you are sleeping, your body is, so if while you are sleeping, your body is still digesting food, many organs will miss their scheduled time to be rested, repaired, and renewed. It's just missed. So your pancreas never rebuilt itself. Your guts never relined themselves. Your liver never cleaned itself out because it was too busy eating or digesting while you were sleeping. For example, it takes the pancreas about 7 hours to handle a carbohydrate feed. So a few crackers or a cookie before bed would mean a 10 p.m. bedtime would have the pancreas working until 5 o'clock in the morning the next day or later. When was that organ? When was that pancreas? When was anything supposed to rest, repair, and renew? And it doesn't. Again, you read this book and it tells you all about it. Sachin Panda's The Circadian Code. Really amazing book. In fact, it is recommended that a person take his last bite between 2 to 4 hours before going to bed. Okay, so let's say you now know your average eating time and fasting time each day. So if you eat over 12 hours a day, and again, the gradient scale is what we're looking for, work to get your eating window down to about 12 hours, 11 hours, and then 10 hours. It is thought because of hormones, females should stop at a 10-hour eating window and not do a 9-hour or 8-hour or 7-hour or anything else like that. While males who want to lose weight should try for an 8 or 9-hour eating window each day. All right, well, I hope that lends some clarity to intermittent fasting. And as usual, if you have any questions or would like help, please feel free to reach out to us at Paragon Chiropractic. If you really want to hit the ball out of the park, though, then make sure what you're eating during your eating window is actually deflammatory type foods, namely no grains, no grain flours, no sugar, no polyunsaturated vegetable oils, or trans fats. All right, this combo of the time-restricted eating window and eating foods that do not cause your blood sugar to go up or cause inflammation is about as close to a guarantee as you're ever going to find in this universe. All right, so if you have any questions, please reach out to us again and let us know. Thank you for the people that have come in and are interested in trying to handle their chronic inflammation. You know, there are no expendable people on this planet, and that's the whole thing. So we need them all. We need you. We need everybody. So
here's another guy.
Hey, so here's the next guy. Here's Nolan. Hooray, Nolan.
All right.
Okay, he's happy. Good. All right. Well, if you think about it, hit the like button and subscribe button, and we'll see you back here next week. If you got any questions, give us a call.